Hey Andreas,
Hey,
how are you doing?
hey, Harshil. Thanks for inviting me today.
Thank you
And
for
I'm really
joining
good.
in. Awesome. Andreas, for the folks who don't know how awesome you are, do you mind doing an introduction?
Well, I don't know if the introduction tells how awesome I am, but I can tell you what I do. So, I'm a full stack developer at Contentful, and interesting fact, it's my 1 year anniversary today. So,
Woohoo!
who would have thought that? Yeah, well, exactly. I'm working at
That's
the developer workflows team, by the way. So,
awesome. So what does the developer workflow team does? Like what is your focus?
yeah. So, as the name suggests, we are working for developers. So our job is basically to create tools that enable other developers to automate how they work with Contentful. This could be their CI/CD pipeline. This could be how they collaborate with other like people in their company. It could be editors, could be other positions, and also how they can ensure that their releases and everything they do works flawlessly and without all the hassle that we sometimes all get, I guess.
I love this because first you are doing something to enable developers and making their lives easy, which is something that I'm really passionate about, and that's what I basically do as a developer advocate. And I am an automation nerd, so anything that includes automation, I love it. So heads off to you and your team.
Thank you.
All right. So you mentioned that you work to make the lives of developers easy, right? So, and one of the things that you work on is environments, if I'm not wrong.
Exactly. I
So,
would even say
for
it's. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, please. Yeah,
no, I was
please.
just curious, like, what are environments? If someone is new to Contentful and then
Mhm.
don't know what environments is, how would you explain them?
Yeah. So it's basically one of our core entities that we have in Contentful. And if you think about environments, it's basically so in Contentful we think about spaces. This is where your data lives. But then
Hmm.
sometimes for a lot of processes, you need several copies of those spaces. And this is what we call environments. And it's a very cool thing because what it does is it enables you to have multiple copies so that you can, for example, iterate on changes for or
Right.
multiple teams can work on the same thing at once, just on different environments, so they don't like crash into each other.
That's a really interesting and amazing feature I believe that we have. Like I was giving a talk at one of the conferences about how the content modeling kind of works because I mean you can never have a fixed content model. Like things keep on changing and you want to keep on iterating. So having something like an environment makes a lot of sense because you have something that is in production while you can have another environment where you can test out those changes. Yeah, once you're happy with it, what do you do that? That's my next question.
Yeah. So the thing is, what those environments enable you to do is you can integrate it into your CI/CD pipelines, which
Mhm.
is really cool because, as you just said, you make changes, then you want to deploy it maybe,
Right.
and so. But as you said correctly already, how are you going to do that? So in Contentful, we have currently, I would say, two main options. One
Mhm.
is the very obvious one. You just do it manually in our web app. So basically having a look what changed and then doing the changes manually. But as you can imagine, this is not really in the spirit of CI/CD automation.
True.
So what we recommend currently is working with migration scripts um,
Mhm.
to well merge those changes to different environments. And of
All right.
course, also, wait, sorry. I tried to draw our new logo here, if, in case you haven't noticed. The merge app, which might also solve this problem, hopefully for many people.
Awesome. So we are not going to talk a lot about doing changes via the web app because it's kind of very obvious, right? You have an environment, you make those changes, you test those changes, you go back to your main environment and kind of replicate those changes again on the app itself, on the contentful platform itself, which is not the ideal scenario. So the other thing is to maybe use the migration script. So let's talk a bit about the migration script because being an automation nerd, I kind of also like scripts and I also like code a bit. So let's talk about a migration script, like what is migration script and how it works.
Yeah. So essentially, this is the way that we suggested for our users to bring changes, or like actually just to make changes in an environment.
Mhm.
So essentially, what you would do, you would write in our domain-specific language, this migration script language that we have, what changes you want to be applied on your content or content types in the environment that you want to have it in. And yeah, you're very flexible. You can do everything basically that you can also do in the web app, but well, script it yourself.
Got it. So I'm trying to think as a developer, right? So I have the migration script and I can just simply add it to my CI/CD pipeline. So
Mhm.
whenever a particular action happens, that migration script is executed and things automatically, are synced. So I don't have to go ahead into Contentful and do those changes manually.
Yeah, so essentially, it's more like imagine you had a specific content type and you said, okay, I want this content type. It has a name field, for example, but I also want it to have a created field because so that I know when it was created.
Right.
And then I could write in my migration script, hey, please, when you find this content type, add the created field as well. But which also means you have to be pretty, um, well, you have to be pretty clear what you want to, every change
True.
must be in the script. So it's not like you say, okay, I have one environment, I have another, sync them. It's just like, do this, that, and that, please, for me.
Got it. Got it. Makes sense. All right. What I think we should do is maybe we start, sharing my screen. We go a
Mhm.
bit with the live demo of the migration script. And this is the Pizza Palace space that Andreas created for us. Before the live stream, Andreas created this space where there are a couple of content models. So there is pasta, pizza, and topping. Andreas, do we want to go into each of these and just do a quick overview?
Yeah, definitely. So this is like our small pizza place, and that is like for their online website, maybe for their menu, to show the people what they offer. So it's super simple. This is, for example, pasta. We sell pasta. It has some kind of name and a price.
Wonderful. And then there is the pizza type, which has the name, the toppings, and the image.
Exactly.
Now, the toppings is a reference to another content type, which is this one.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that the toppings in the pizza content type is a one-to-many reference. So you can add several toppings, of course.
All right. So this is the content type that we have in our pizza palace. So the question is by Malcolm K. Would you recommend using migration script or the merge app pre-launch? Our internal process has been a little messy so far.
Well, so the thing is, you can always go with migration scripts. They are definitely a battle-proof thing to use, but also the merge app, what I can say that is already working really well. So
True.
at the moment, it's mostly that we're trying to listen to the community and see if there's any feedback to integrate features. But as far as the functionality goes, I would be confident to say that you can already use it in your production.
Got it. Got it. But I want to add on top of that because I have been talking to a lot of people who are using Contentful, and they told me like once they tried out the merge app, they have stopped using the migration script because the merge app has made it really easy for them to merge different content types. So I would say from talking to other people, I would say just try it out, see if it fits all your checklist or not. If it does not, feel free to give us the feedback so that we can make sure that we try to add those features as well, and then you can just use the merge app and don't have to write more migration scripts, I guess.
think that's well said.
All right, so we were talking about the content types. So we have this content types in here, and we also have a couple of content, if I'm not wrong. Let's move forward. You also went ahead and created a few environments, right? So
Mhm.
before I jump into any of those environments, I would like to show people how they can create environments. So if you
I'm
want to create an environment, you go to settings and then you go to, there has to be environment somewhere here. Yeah. Environments. And then you can just click on add environment, give it a name, and you can, all right. So this is something that I just discovered that you can clone new environment from different environments. Do you want to explain a bit over here?
Yeah. So essentially, what you can select here is what other environment you're cloning from. And usually,
Mhm.
when our users start on a new fresh space, they only have one environment, and this is the master
Mhm.
environment. They will always have that. And of course, if you when you select your or when you want to create your first cloned environment, you can only select for master. But from
Right.
that point on, it's up to you to decide like from which database structure you want to go and create another environment, depending on what you want to do, of course.
Mhm. Makes sense. So let's just say we have the master environment
Mhm.
and we start working or making changes in the dev environment. I am happy with those changes, but I still am waiting for my team to, give me a thumbs up before I go ahead and merge it. And there are more changes that we want to do, right? On top of the dev environment. So I would
Mhm.
create a new environment, making the dev environment as kind of my base.
Exactly, depending on how your process works exactly. Some customers would use it in a way that they create multiple environments based on the master environment and then
Mhm.
merge them together and like independently work on them. Exactly. But what I want to emphasize here is that usually you would like serve your content for your website, for your app, for whatever you're using it from the master environment, which is then your production environment usually, and the others are for work, like changes you want to make.
Got it. So we don't want to create an environment because we already have like four environments in there. Uh, Now, if I'm not wrong, you made a couple of changes to content types, and that was in the dev environment.
Exactly. Like I imagined I was dev and had to work for our pizza palace here.
I'm excited for the Pizza Palace to go live.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Now, because you made this environment from the master environment, we also got the content from the master environment and the content model. The
Mhm.
one thing you did was made maybe some changes. Wait, okay. Yeah, I see like there is no past and content type over here, but there is a promotion content type over here.
Yeah. So pizza palace, we figured out that pasta is just not our strong suit, and we want to focus on what we are good at. It's pizza. So kick out the pasta, but instead add promotions because we really want to get the pizza business going.
Got it. So with promotions, we have some text going in, which is a rich text field, and then, but I also think that there is an extra field in the pizza, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly. So we
got it.
made changes to the pizza field. You know, allergens, it's very important. Like some people
Mhm.
react to specific ingredients. So we want to make sure that our customers are really safe.
I love how much thought you have put into this other imaginary restaurant.
Yeah, maybe I
This
should.
is
Maybe
interesting.
that's my real passion. Let's see.
That's interesting. I love it. Awesome. So we have this changes in here, but again, this is not on our master environment, and we just saw that, right? But we want to get it into that environment. What would we do?
Yeah. So until now, what we would have done is create a migration script that
Mhm.
includes all the changes that we made to the dev environment and then
Okay.
apply it to the master environment so that it looks the same in the end.
Okay. Okay. Wait. So are you saying that you kind of hard coded this whole script?
Yes and no. I will be little I will be very honest here. Usually what you would have to do so far is yes, exactly do that, code it yourself, unless of course you have some kind of tooling for that, but usually code it
Mhm.
yourself. And I don't wanna like say too much for now how I got this script. I think we will figure that out very soon, but it's also a very cool feature of the merge app. Just gonna say that so far.
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. And then we got another question in the chat. If you add fields with default values, does the merge app fill them in?
Yes, it does.
Fantastic. Before the merge app, right? So this is what developers would have to do if they want to merge things together. They would write this migration script for all the changes that they have made. Uh, Maybe let's quickly go through what is happening over here. What I want to do is I want to try to understand it my own. So I'm gonna read it out loud what I am thinking in my head right now, right?
Hmm.
And you can correct me if there is any mistake that I'm making. Sounds good?
Yep.
All right. So we have a migration function to which is taking migration and context, and we are now creating a new content type, which is promotion, which we just saw over here. And over here now we are giving it a name, a description, and then we are creating a field for the promotion content type, which is over here, and then we are adding some name, the what type it is, and some validation rules. And the other thing we are also doing is we are deleting the pasta content type. So this is happening over here on this particular line.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. Now we have the promotion content type. We have deleted the pasta content type. We want to edit the pizza content type, and this is what we are doing over here. So we are using the edit content type function, and then we are editing which field we want to do. So we are telling like, hey, let's work with the image field. So we are making some changes to the image field. Uh, all right. So I have a question over here. So
Mhm.
are we just changing the name of that field from image to picture?
Exactly. I felt like picture is more personal.
Mhm. All right, sounds good. And then we again want to create a new field. So we create a new field, we give it a name, we give it a type, and we set all the other values for it. And then the topping is the topping we are referencing the topping content type. We are
Hmm.
deleting the price field. We are creating a
Hmm.
new field and we are calling it pricing. And
Hmm.
then we are giving it some values. I mean, we are setting those values for it.
Yeah. And now you might ask yourself, this looks like a rename. Is this not just a rename? Why does it look so complicated? Well, it's not a rename because what I wanted to do here before that, the pricing was a decimal number. But like our news research showed that people like to buy pizza more when it's an integer. So you could not change that anymore once you had to create the field. So we had to delete it and recreate it, but as an integer, as you can see in line 37.
So we have the migration script, and the ideal way to run this now would be via the CLI.
Exactly. So the tool that we provide developers to do it on their machine, do it in their CI/CD environment, wherever they want.
All right. So I already installed the contentful CLI before the live stream, and I created this sort of how do you call it?
Command, I
The
guess.
command exactly. Now I'm going to try to walk you all through this. So the contentful space migration is the command for this. The space ID flag would help us specify which particular space we want to run this migration script on. We are also specifying which migration script we want to run. Now, because this is migration.js, I'm going to remove this And there is one more thing that I want to check is this page ID. So I'm going to get this page ID from the URL and replace this over here. But because we want to show the demo for the merge app as well, I don't want to merge it into the master branch. So if I want to merge it into a different environment, right, and not the master environment, how would I do that?
Yeah, you can also specify which environment as a parameter, which environment ID
Okay,
you want to merge it into.
hyphen e maybe, and then I can specify.
Exactly. Yeah, what I created for our little demo here is basically this release 1 and release 2 environments, which would in real world maybe be the master environment. It's just that we want to show it a bit here. So I created some more of them. But yeah, imagine this is our master right now.
Got it. So I'm just gonna quickly go to the release one environment so that people know that there is no surprises in there. So we still have the pasta, the pizza one still has like three fields, and there is topping, which has price and not pricing, and it is a decimal number. And it's 01. I'm gonna run it. And I'm gonna hope it's gonna work. All
It
right.
could be that the environment has a different parameter. Maybe you can scroll up a bit in the suggested help here. Ah, okay.
It's hyphen E, yeah. Wait, maybe there is.
Or maybe you need to put it
Because there
into
is no
quote.
space, I think.
Ah, okay.
All right, yeah. Wait.
Hmm.
Okay. Wait, you
So,
told me this is gonna work, but it's not working.
well, maybe I left out a bit of info. So what it's complaining about here is that we want to delete the pasta content type, which in itself is totally fine. But we still, as you might remember, we had a pasta dish in our content.
Right.
And Contentful wants us to be safe here and say, hey, wait a second, do you really want to delete all the content? So it tells you, please, if you want to delete this in this environment, you need to delete all the content first. So just that you're really consciously deciding, okay, I don't need this anymore. This can be gone.
Okay.
So I feel we need
That's
to do
fine.
that now, yeah.
So I'm going to unpublish this and then I'm going to delete it.
Exactly.
No.
Bye-bye, pasta. Sorry, it was a good run.
All right. Are there any more surprises?
Let's hope not.
Okay. Do you want to apply the migration? Yes.
That looks good.
This was good. Okay. The only part I liked about this is that I didn't have to write the migration script.
I imagine this is like, you need to think about it. It's a very powerful tool, the migration script, but it has a learning curve. You need to be able to code, and it's sometimes complex if you want to like make changes that are not just like changing one field or something, but because it's very powerful, you can do almost everything you want, also based on code. But you need to code it, obviously.
True.
So, by the way, can we check? Did it actually work?
That's a good call. Let's see. So if I go to the content model, yes, okay, it worked. Fantastic. So this is working, and I kind of understood with the migration script. It's for every changes that you are making, you will have to write the script for yourself, right? You would have to make sure that the script is kind of for me. I'm talking again. Make sure that you have all those required parameters in the script, and I also feel like it's a bit more time consuming because like for now we had only a few changes, right? But think about a project where you have like tons and tons of changes in your content type. At that point of time, I feel like this is going to be more time consuming.
I think so too. And Also, personally, it's more error prone. I mean, of course, if you know all the commands, but still,
Mhm.
it happens easily. You use the wrong command maybe at one point, and then you make a change that is not intended, and maybe you don't directly see it when it's happening
That's
here.
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you don't get a visual view of what is happening in there. Like the CLI gives you an output, but you still are not, like having that visual view, which would make it more easier for someone to understand
Mm,
it.
exactly.
All right, so this brings us to the merge app. So we just saw how migration scripts work and what are migration scripts, and we also talked a little bit about uh, some pain points or some pain points I would say with the migration script. Let's talk about the merge app now, like how merge app is helping people get rid of all those pain points.
Exactly. So the Merge app is a contentful app. And well, if
Mhm.
you haven't heard about contentful apps, it is something that every contentful user can create and integrate into contentful, like extend the features of contentful in a way that that you want. And of course, since we believe in this feature very much, we also base up some of our features, like the merge, um, on this app framework that we provide. So what we wanted to solve when we create this merge app, or just merge, how it's called actually, um, is we wanted like safer, less error-prone deployments of changes that you make.
Mhm.
And we also wanted to make it easier because, as you saw, migration scripts are cool, but they're not super straightforward. It's not like you're gonna look 5 minutes at it and think, well, I know everything. Um, so yeah, and we wanted it to be able to integrate into your CI pipeline as well. And we thought,
Mhm.
okay, how could you do all of those things in one app?
Right, right. So, hmm, would you mind walking me through how we can, get started with the merge app?
Yeah. So on this space that we have here, I already pre-installed the Merge app. But if you don't have it yet in your space, you can find it on the Contentful Marketplace site. Exactly. Thank you very much for linking it. You can find it there. Just need to click the install button and decide where you want to install it. It's a very straightforward process.
All right, but for the folks who don't know like how or where to install the apps, so there is an apps tab over here. You can go to the apps tab, you can click on manage apps. This will take you to the marketplace inside the platform, and you can then select the app that you want to install. In our case, it's the merge app. It's already installed, but if you click on it, you will get an install button option. Click on it, give it the authorization access, and you're good to go. But wait, wait. I have a question over here. If I'm installing the merge app on only a single non-master environment,
Mhm.
how is it gonna work? Is it gonna
Yeah.
still work on all the environments?
So that is a current limitation of the merge app, but it's only a very small one, I have to say, in practice. It needs to be installed on all the environments that
Okay.
you want to be able to merge. But,
Uh-huh.
very important but here, if you clone an environment, all the apps that are installed on that environment are automatically also installed on the clone, which means if you have one master environment, install it there and then clone from there, you will always have it.
That's that's a smart way. That's a really smart way of doing it. So what I'm going to do is whenever I create a space, I'm going to install the merge app on the master environment so that whenever I'm creating a new environment from the master environment, I already have the merge app installed over there.
And you never have to think about it again.
Fantastic. And we got another question in the chat. Just curious, based on the migration script you just ran, do all the existing top pings now need to be updated with values for the pricing field? I like that
Excellent
question.
question. Yeah, me too. And it's a really good question. And yes, it's true. You need to do it. But as you saw here, it's, at least to me, it wouldn't really be clear that this is the case, because what it essentially does it overrides whatever was in those fields before, or in this case, we deleted it. But in some other cases, it might like delete the content of the field. And it's not really clear that this is happening. And this is also something that we thought about in the merge app. And I think we'll see this in a few minutes, how we try to approach this, like informing the users a bit better about this fact.
Got it. Got it. So let's just say if we were using the edit function over here, right? And I'm gonna and let's just assume that the edit function would make those all changes. So if I edit that, I don't have to re-enter those contents again and again, right? If I just edit that content type, sorry, that field.
Exactly. So
Okay.
if you, for example, change the name of the field or something, that's only internally how it's connected, but it wouldn't change whatever you have in that field.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we already have an example, I think, for the image over here.
Exactly. So the images, even though they are now called pictures, they all stay as you had them before.
Got it. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much for asking that question. Okay. So coming back to our space, we already have the merge app installed. We already have an environment where we have the changes, and we have an environment, like two environments where we can probably merge those changes. So which environment would you recommend to, go and merge those changes?
Well, since we already made the changes on the release 1 environment, this would be pretty boring. So I would say that the release 2 environment, which is the same as the master currently, so it's still nothing changed, I think that would be a good one.
All right. Just again to show everyone that we have the same content model. So we still have pasta. Pizza still has just 3 fields. And then there is again topping over here. All right. So what should I do to bring those changes from the dev environment over here?
Okay, so please, could you click on the apps again, the tab you were before? And here you see the merge app with our new logo that I also tried to draw here. So this is basically the main screen where you will always start. And what you do here is you select target and the source environment. And what's really important here, the target means this is the environment where you want to apply the changes to. The source environment is the one where you get your changes from.
All right. So in our case, because all the changes that we made are in the dev environment, we're going to select dev over here. And the target environment is going to be the release 2 environment, because this is where we want to bring all those changes from the dev environment.
Exactly.
Perfect. Okay. And I am assuming that I have to click the compare environments. This
So
nice. This is pretty.
a lot going on here, a lot of colors as well. What we wanted to achieve here in this step is, even if you don't want to merge it immediately, here you get a very good understanding of what actually changed. Maybe you don't even know exactly anymore what you changed on the dev environment, and you would just want to know what happened. So what we did here is, like in the typical GitHub colors, I would say, if you have changed the content type, it's blue. If you have added one, it's green. If you have deleted one, it's red. And the same applies for all the fields inside of the content type as well.
That's interesting. And we can also see it in the fields way. And if we want to look into more detail, we can switch to JSON view.
Exactly. If you scroll down a bit, we should see exactly how our changes would look like.
Wow. Okay. This is interesting.
So you need to imagine, like, we made some pretty easy changes right now, but it could be that you have a very complex content type. And then this, from our experience and from the feedback we received from our users, really helps to visualize what actually changed. And so that it's graspable in a way.
True. Okay. So for the promotion, we added the promotion text, which is of the type rich text, and this is what we see in the shows. Because we don't have anything in the target environment right now, we don't see anything over here.
Exactly. We just added the complete content type here.
And again, similar story for the pizza content type. We have the image, which is again in the target environment. We haven't brought the change, that is basically changing the or renaming the field, and that is why it
Mhm.
is shown in the dev environment. And in the dev environment, we also added a new field that is allergens, which is now showing over here, but not in the pizza type. Oh, sorry, the release
Exactly.
environment, right? Okay. Oh, that's okay. That's good. All right. So this looks good, but let's just say I check it over here. I find like something maybe I did wrong, and I go ahead makes those changes in the dev environment. What
Mhm.
would happen then? Like, would I have to go through this whole process again?
Yeah, so you would not. That's a cool thing because this is something that happened to us very early on in the development, and we realized you need to be able to make changes and then reload it. So you see at the bottom, there's this reload
Uh huh.
page
Uh
button.
huh.
And if you now made any changes to any of the two environments, because both are important for
Mm-hmm.
this
True.
comparison here, it would reflect after reloading. You can click it right now if you want. Nothing is going to happen because we did
Right.
nothing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Now that we have understood that if we make changes, we can still reload those changes and see it in this page
Mhm,
itself.
mhm.
I am happy with those changes and I want to go ahead and merge those changes. What should I do now?
So you have two options. You can either select them one by one. You see this whole field at the top of every content
Mhm.
type. You can click the small one or the whole banner basically and select them. Or at the very top, you see select all
Okay.
if you're just happy with everything.
Oh, this
And if
is
you're
this is
happy with,
interesting.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, please. I would just want to say if you're happy with what you had, we can continue to the next page.
No, I was saying this is interesting because I can just let's just say I'm still working on the pizza content type, so I can unselect this,
Mhm.
but I can still go ahead and merge all the other content types, which is really interesting.
Yeah, you only need to take what you like, not more.
Mhm. So now, because for this again demo, we want to merge all those changes. I already
Mhm.
selected them, and I want to review the changes. And okay,
So
I think there is something again over here happening.
exactly.
Is
So
it? Yeah,
basically, yeah, it's very similar to what we've seen before, actually.
exactly. Yeah. Mhm.
On this view, we wanted to ensure that whatever you want to merge is actually what you want. So we added
Mhm.
loads of validations here, even for some very obscure edge cases, um, to ensure that whatever you merge is valid. So as we've seen before in our migration script, we still have content of the pasta type. So we can see there
True.
it says content types with required actions. It's
Mhm.
required because this is not possible, as I said, if there's still content. And the merge app tells you that. And as you can see, it says delete all associated entries to continue. And the cool thing is you can just open a new tab with this link and it brings you directly to those entries that you should delete.
That's
So this speeds it up.
that's
You
pretty
don't
sweet.
need to search for them anymore. Yeah,
That's pretty sweet. So you can just select this, unpublish this, and then delete it permanently. Nice. All
and
right.
the
And
cool
now
thing
if
is
I reload the
exactly,
page,
yeah.
this is nice. And I also see that we got some recommendation actions, which I am assuming we can do or we can just avoid doing it.
Exactly. That's exactly what you talked about, and the great question that we got in the chat. It tells us that this change includes the deletion of an active field,
Mhm.
which then means that all the content that we had in that field is gonna be gone. So it
Right.
recommends us a few things, and also the link where we can find this content type to maybe disable it first, so that we're really
Mhm.
sure we want to do what we want to do here. But it does not stop us, because if we want this, that's perfectly fine. It just tells us.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. All right. All right. Now, should I hit the merge content types button? Or is there something else that I am missing on the page?
Well, there's one little feature that I had spoiled before already. As you can see at the very top right, there is this nice button. It's called Export Migration Script, and this is what made my life preparing this demo much easier. How about you hit it and we just have a look what's happening?
So, wait, are you saying that you cheated? You didn't code the whole thing?
I wouldn't say that, but I took like some tooling help. Let's
Right? I'm
let's
just
have a
kind of
look what you
doing
got.
it and here. All
So
right.
basically, what this does is that all the changes that we had selected in the merge app that we want in this merge, it creates a migration script for you. And this is really
Mhm.
cool, because on one hand, you can see it in code style if you prefer that, but more importantly, you can download this. You can like have version control where you upload this file, so that you can always like go back in the past and have a look what exactly changed with the last deploy. So this is really was a lifesaver for me at a few occasions already.
Okay, now I feel like I can write migration scripts.
Exactly, exactly.
All right. So again, let's just assume that I still want to use this, and I will still go ahead, run the CLI command that we used earlier. Just change the environment ID and the file name, and this should work.
This would work perfectly fine. But we
Awesome.
don't have to do that. We can instead also just do it in the merge app.
Exactly. So if we want to do it in the merge app, all I have to do is click on merge content types.
Exactly.
Right. I think so. This
So
is the final changes I want to make, but yeah.
exactly. The only thing I want to briefly mention here, what the merge app tells you, is when we talked about environments before, there's also a very cool concept of environment aliases. It's basically like a pointer to a specific environment. So what you could
Mhm.
do instead is you say, okay, this is my production, and I point it to environment A. But then
Okay.
want to make changes, and then instead I point it to environment B, make my changes in environment A, and point it back. And it just suggests here that you can do that, but you don't have to. You can directly merge into whatever you want.
Got it. So the way I am kind of visualizing it in my head is I'm thinking it of as a line. Right.
Mhm.
That is this is the point A. And currently my production is pointing at point A. I start making changes at point B. I'm happy with those changes and I simply just point my production to this particular point on the line and it's gonna use those changes now.
Exactly. So then you all, in case something goes wrong at point B, and I think it happens to everyone at some point, you can then quickly switch back to point A without
Mhm.
figuring out what exactly is wrong on the environment B.
Got it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Perfect.
But I think
So,
we are very confident in our pizza changes here. We don't need that right now.
I mean, you are the master of this. Oh, it
So
says merge successfully completed. That's fantastic.
that's it. And as you can see, we could now at this point still export the migration script. If we, for example, wanted to wait if everything succeeds perfectly, we can also do it
Hmm.
at the very end.
Makes sense, makes sense. All right. So if we go back to content model, if we look at the changes, we got promotion. There is no pasta, unfortunately. And the pizza now has a new field, which is elegance, and the topping has pricing, which is now of type integer. Fantastic. Wow. Okay, this is pretty neat because again I didn't have to write the script. Even if I had to write the script, I could get the script from the app itself, right? And then use that in my application in my CI/CD pipeline, which is something that I really like. So this is interesting. All right. Is there anything else that you want to talk about the merge app?
So um, essentially, what I think is great about the merge app is that it really, as you saw, it quickens the whole experience very much. But at the moment, it still comes with a few limitations. As you have seen, we can only merge content types so far and not content itself. We are really listening to the community feedback here and having a look at how teams like iterate over changes, how they deploy to their production environment. So this is like a call to the community here from me personally and from our team. If you're using the merge app, please click on the button at the top right. Maybe you can also show it here. It says give
Um,
feedback, and please really do it. We listen to this feedback. We read this every day. We are super excited about everything that we hear from you. Tell us how you would like to use the merge app, what you would like to see. So this is really big help from us and gives us really the real world data to make the best app that we can here. So that is that regarding content. And one thing I have to add too, we currently, like this moment, do not support editor interfaces. So just to quickly give you an idea, an editor interface is basically telling you if a field has a certain look in the
mhm.
contentful editor, like if it's like a drop down or a switch, for example.
Uh-huh.
And we currently do not merge those. We plan to do that in the future, like this is on our roadmap, but it's not in the app right now.
Got it. Got it. But thank you so much for talking about that because I love that you shared about the limitations as well. So, folks, if you have any feedback, if you have tried the merge app, and if you want to share your feedback, I already have shared the link for the form directly in the chat as well, and it is now on your screen. So go ahead, share the feedback on the form, or maybe people can also hit you up on Slack.
Definitely. Please write me in the community Slack if there's anything that comes to your mind. And I'm really happy about reading reading it all.
I'm going to try to summarize what we did, what the merge app is.
All right, let's do it.
Awesome. So the main idea of this live stream was to talk about the merge app and show you the power of the merge app. We started with talking about the environments, like what are environments, and touched a little bit of the different scenarios of or the use cases of environments, and then we looked into how you would merge changes from one environment to another environment using migration script, which is something like this. Now you can already see it. It's a bit of work to write this code and make sure that it is 100% fail proof. So the other approach that we recently came out with is the merge app. With the merge app, you get a visual interface where you can see the changes, all the changes that you have made, all the things, all the action items that you need to do. For example, we didn't delete the pasta content type, so we were given an alert like, hey, you need to delete this pasta content type, and only then you would be able to merge that. So we went ahead, we deleted the content for the pasta content type, and then we were able to go ahead and merge those changes. What else? Is there anything that I'm missing?
Well, I think maybe two things. It's one that you can very easily select what you want. and especially unselect what you don't want to have in there. And then also, of course, the migration script generation.
Yes, the migration script generation, my lifesaver.
Yeah. And maybe, which we like, this is a feature we worked on a lot, is the validation at the end to make sure that everything you're doing there is safe, that you really know what you're doing, that we tell you, okay, this is going on.
Makes sense.
Like,
But I have one question for you. Would you recommend to merge changes directly into the master environment? Because I was trying out a few things, and whenever I try to merge it into the master environment, I always get like, hey, maybe do it in a staging environment first, and then merge it into the master environment. So just want to pick your brain over here.
yeah. Personally, I would definitely recommend it because it's not much more effort, but it's way safer. And especially if you combine it with the aliases that we had previously quickly talked about, it just ensures that if something goes wrong, and it could just be that you have deleted the wrong content type, and then your manager comes, hey, wait, what happened there? You can just roll it back easily, just point it to the other environment, and everything is great. So yeah, I would do it. I would do it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for answering that. And I've also quickly shared a link to a tutorial on the merge app in the chat. You can always, if you still want to learn more about the merge app, try it out on your own. We have a really helpful tutorial. Go ahead and check it out and try the merge app as well. Uh, and we are getting good comments in the chat. Amazing work. Thank you for the walkthrough. I am glad that you enjoyed the walkthrough, and thank you, Andreas, for joining in and giving me the walkthrough as well. So huge shout out to Andreas for joining in and helping us with this.
Thank you very much. And I'm also really happy about the comments and hopefully the feedback that we're also going to get. This really is what keeps us working.
Andreas, before we go, do you want to share a few last thoughts?
My last thoughts maybe are, please try the merge app out, and I hope it helps, because this is actually what we created this for, to make it easier. And if you enjoy the interface, it's not a coincidence. It's because we thought a lot about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Andreas, for joining in and teaching me and walking us through the merge app. And thank you all for tuning in today. I hope to see you all in the next live stream happening next week. Thank you all. Have a nice one. Take care.